2017, November 13th, 2017, November 20th, 2017, and November 28th, 2017.
I motion to approve the aforementioned meetings.
All in favor?
All in favor? And finally, motion to approve the school committee executive session minutes of December 18th, 2017, and January 22nd, 2017.
I motion to approve December 18th and January 22nd.
All in favor?
All in favor?
All right, and I don't believe we have any correspondence or presentations, but we can now go to Christina.
Good evening. So first I'd like to apologize for my most recent absence. So this just means my report is just going to be a little bit longer than usual. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So first up, last month on September 12th, we held an activities fair at the high school in the lobby for just one singular period. Each club in the school set up a table with information on the club, and they had members representing their club there. So one grade came down at a time to the lobby, and they had an opportunity to receive information about the clubs, ask questions, and even sign up if they were interested. This was a great way to get students exposed to different clubs and have the chance to sign up for the ones that they're interested in. So not too long after that, we held the back to school dance, and that was on September 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. This was open for grades 7th through 10th, and about 30 students showed up, and obviously our school is kind of small, but it was a good time. Everyone seemed to have a good time, so that was good. So on September 21st, we held a huge pep rally from 1:30 to 2, which was definitely cutting it close. I think we might need a little more time in the future for pep rallies because we were kind of rushing through it. But like always, we made it work. So we had students participate in games, and we announced the fall sports teams, and this was just a great way to get the students excited and looking forward to the homecoming the following day on September 22nd. So homecoming went very well. We charged $3 at the door to watch games. So we had the boys varsity, girls varsity soccer, and then we had field hockey and as well as cross country. So we charged $3 at the door, and all of that money went to the Sports Boosters Club. So this was definitely a better homecoming than years past, considering the dance as well, which was from 6 to 9 p.m. There was about 70 to 80 people that went to the dance, which is like pretty big for our school. And everyone just had such a great time. And yeah, it was definitely one of the better homecomings I've been to.
And so how did the teams do?
The teams, so girls won to Prouty, 1-0. Boys lost to Prouty. I don't remember the score.
I think it was like 3-2. Something like that.
3-2, yeah.
Something like that. I think it was close.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
And then field hockey
Tied.
tied 1-1. And then cross country won, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good.
So next up on October 7th, we held our 4th annual breast cancer walk from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we were able to raise over $1,000 and donate it to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, which is literally so amazing. We were so excited when we found out we raised that much. So we had planned and set up many games and activities around the track just in the back of the high school. And we sold tickets for those games, 2 for $1. And instead of doing it like we have in the past years, like we usually have it like an actual walk and having you walk around the town, but we brainstormed, and the e-board decided that it'd be a good idea to just keep everything closer together. So we had people were allowed to walk or run the track if they wanted to, and then we had all like game stands in the middle of the track and on the soccer field. So it was great. Pretty good amount of people showed up, but we obviously always want to make our events bigger. So we decided for next year we're going to try to turn it into a registered 5K to get more people involved and raise even more money for Breast Cancer Research Foundations.
That's great though, $1,000. That's a great sum of money.
Definitely. So lastly, for past events, the e-board went to the officer shop at Holy Cross College last Friday to meet and convey with other councils, and this is just a great way for all student councils in Massachusetts to get the e-boards together. We have workshops, we're able to bless you, we're able to exchange ideas and take things from other councils. So this is a great thing. We actually took 3 things from that, so keep you updated on that. So as for upcoming events, this Friday on October 19th, about 10 to 20 members from our council are going to be attending the CD Mask Fall Conference, where all Central District schools in Mass come together and go through workshops. And these workshops will not only teach us members about leadership, organization, etc., but also some things that other councils may do, like I said earlier, being able to exchange things. So next, on Halloween night, October 31st, we are doing a trick-or-treat for canned goods. We are sending out flyers to notify parents and families that we are doing this, and if they want to donate canned goods, they can leave cans in front of their houses, and we, the SUCO members, will come and pick them up on Halloween night. So we've done this in the past. It's kind of a yearly thing that we do, and we donate the food. So.
Are you going to have a collection spot down at the Common where they're having the trunk or treat?
Yeah, so we're pretty sure that they're still gonna let us go to the Common, because I don't know if they're doing trunk or treat.
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah,
They are?
they
Oh,
are.
okay,
Yep.
perfect. So, who would we ask for permission for that to
Well,
have a spot at the table? Do you know?
Well, I think you could, are you on
Yeah.
Facebook? Because if you just go into the
Yeah.
the town,
Yeah.
the Citizens for MB School, and just say
okay,
that you want to do
Yeah.
it, and I'm sure it's not an issue at all.
awesome. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And you probably want to add also that you'll collect canned goods at people's houses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Definitely. All right. So next on November 1st, we are starting the Giving Turkey, which goes through the whole month of November. So we have a paper turkey in the main office with feathers on them, and each feather says something different that you can bring in. So like, for example, pencils, pens, tissues, things like that. So students and teachers are then able to grab a feather, bring that item in, and then donate it. And we've done this in the years past as well, and it always goes pretty well. So, lastly, on November 2nd, we are holding the Halloween dance, where students can wear their Halloween costumes to the dance and have a good time. This is going to be held from 6 to 9 o'clock. And we also do this every year. This is one of our more like fun dances, and a lot of people go through, and it's 7 through 12, so everyone's welcome. And yeah, that's all I have tonight. Thanks.
I just have one other question. Where are you do you know where you're gonna donate the food from your?
I'm not 100% positive. Usually it's local food pantries, so probably one of the churches in town is
Okay,
usually where we
great.
go to.
Christina,
Yes.
I know you guys started a newsletter.
Yes.
I think that's awesome, but if someone from the e-board can send me these things, I can get it into my parent email.
Okay, awesome.
Because I
Yeah.
think that will really help, like with the canned good collection.
Yeah, definitely.
Or any of the different activities or events that are going on.
Great.
For moms and
Awesome.
dads to see that information.
Great. Yeah, I'll talk to Hannah Schultz. She's in charge
Sometimes
of
notes
this, so
don't
yeah.
get home.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Awesome. That's a great idea. Any other questions? Thanks.
Thanks, Christina. So, I don't think we have any public participation, and we have no school committee reports, so we're going to bring our recognition up to this right now. So we have some recognitions for, and apparently Mr. Testa is representing here. So we had
I
a,
wasn't told I was gonna be the only one.
it's all right.
Everybody was invited, so.
Yeah.
So we had a group of parents that volunteered to help clean up the fields. Oh, I'm sorry. They cleaned up the fields right before homecoming because of the rain and the puddles and things like that. Got them ready for play, and that's probably why our teams did so well, right? So I have a certificate for you, Mr. Testa.
Oh, thank you.
And there were several other parents. I can read their names. Thanks so much for doing that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Diana Marshall, Keith Marshall, Tammy Warner, Carlene LaQuaid, Marty Standrovich, you got it right, and Sean Toomey. So thank you all so very much, and Mr. Lynn will be getting your certificates to you, and we expect you to display them prominently in your home.
And again, that
Right
was
there on the
something, we just appreciate the parents just coming out of nowhere, out of the woodwork, just to help with puddles and getting fields playable in a, we don't have grounds crews, we don't have perfectly manicured fields, and the kids benefit when parents like yourself and the others that jumped in to help our athletic director, Mr. K, get them ready, put the dry stuff out there and getting some dirt in there. So thank you on behalf of the teams and the coaches so that they could get their games in. Much appreciated.
And I will say that I think in North Brookfield, whenever you ask, people will always come and help. You just have to ask.
They will.
So because you're here, you get to have your picture taken. Okay?
Okay.
All right?
You want them to go alone or you want the others?
Yeah, okay. Actually, you know what? So you don't have to be yourself. We have some other people we're going to recognize because October is Principals Month. So Mr. Evans and Mr. Glazier, we're going to recognize you today. And then also because apparently there's no other like special month that Mrs. Powers and Mrs. Dubuque, we would like to recognize you as well. So we could all stand up and then Mr. Lentz, you're up there too because there's no superintendent.
There's no superintendent
could be.
month, so
Go
let's
ahead.
call it Administrators Month.
I looked.
Is there a formal principal's book? Oh, there's a formal.
Well, there you go.
All right.
So
We don't have to get people along.
Great. Appreciate that.
So I, you know, in my years of, you know, volunteering and working with the school, you know, administrators at schools, you guys have really demanding jobs, and I am always impressed by how much you care and how hard you work, and you're always available and willing to help, and I do appreciate that very much. As a parent, and I know the rest of the school committee and the other parents also. Mr. Lynn, there's yours. You get a special one. Okay. Mr. Evans. Mr. Glazier. Ms. Powers. Mr. Dubuque.
Thank you.
All right, so stand there and smile. I'm going to take a picture. All right.
There, yeah, scooching.
All right, big smiles. Thank you. Thanks you all for all your work you do.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you
Thank you for
too.
coming.
Yeah, so next time I visit you in your office, you can have that in a nice frame, right?
Please.
All right. So moving on, we have our financial reports.
Yes, we have financial reports. Sheila has been working tirelessly to get these things up and running, and she has gotten them. So just a couple of things. There are still some interesting things in here, but 3/4 of the way down, it says general supplies for the high school is spent at 980%. Because I think originally we had $60 in there. We did some other purchasing, and we just moved some money around. It really is fine. She's still working out the bugs for this, so when you see things like 980%, please don't lose your minds like I did originally. Sheila said, relax. You know, again, about 1/4 of the way down, dues and membership district is spent at 186%. We're really talking about a small amount of money. You know, if we've gone over by a couple $100. None of the larger accounts are like that, I will tell you that. But Sheila is sort of getting out all the bugs, and those smaller amounts will be taken care of without a problem. A couple things she reminded me of. The district, like expenses are here, obviously, and when you look at the salary lines, most of the 12-month employees, which many of them are sitting here, should be at about 23 or so % spent. So, I don't know, the second line down is my line. And I'm at 23.08% of that line is spent. Teachers, it's a little more challenging because some teachers choose 21 pay periods and some select 26. So the ones that select 21 pay periods get their entire salary in the 10 months. The ones that select 26 pay periods actually get a big chunk for the summer, if you know what I mean. So the percentages don't work out when you look at it. It's just, it's not, this report won't tell you how much percentage of the salary lines was spent, which is by far the greatest amount in terms of our lines. So it's really hard to give you an accurate portrayal of what percentage of our budget has been spent based on salaries. Again, we're still early in the school year. There are some lines that you'll look at and say, oh my God, we've already spent all of that. For example, health supplies at the high school and the elementary school are about 92% spent. But they buy all their supplies in advance. You know, Maureen Floyd has purchased all the Band-Aids and ice packs and other things that she needs to run the nurses' offices for the year. So in general, again, don't be too worried about those things. I know one that we were concerned last year with was substitutes for custodians. We're a third of the way spent. But don't forget, the summer just passed and most people take the majority of their vacation during the summer. So that's not too bad right now. And other than that, the only other one that I have any concern about is buildings for the high school is 68% spent. And we just continue to try to peck away at some of the issues that we've had, not only with the roof, but we had our inspection done by the fire chief and the building inspector, and we have some repairs that we had to do. So that's where that's gone, and hopefully we don't have some significant expenses in the building at the high school moving forward. So those are our general lines. And then the next page is the grant or the revolving accounts. Those are pretty much on track. You know, there are a couple that I point out. The circuit breaker line is about the fourth one down. Please don't forget that that amount is last year's money and the year before's money, but we are spending a year behind. So everything that's being spent this year hasn't been taken out of there yet, if that makes sense. So we had used that as offsets, so about $370,000 will be pulled out of there during the course of the year to pay budget stuff. And the idea is to always be a year behind in spending. So in terms of the others, some of the other grants have not been finalized yet. So the federal grants, like our SPED grant and our some of our other ones haven't been entered yet. And when those are finalized, we'll enter the final dollar figures in there. Other than that, everything else is pretty much on track and pretty straightforward. The roof project, you can see there, it's about halfway down on the page, 0027. Got $2,171,326 left of the original budget. We've been paying bills, so things are on track there. Wish the project was, but we'll get there. Any questions? Pretty straightforward stuff. Good. That's it.
So, starting with your report?
Yep, so at our last meeting, we talked a little bit about the district improvement plan, and I think Mrs. Tucker talked about a quick update. So, as I said last time, one of the things that I really think we don't do well in general in education is really when we have some type of plan to make it actionable. And so if you look at the first 3 or 4, 5 pages, 5 pages of what's in your packet, this is our district improvement plan. And so there are 3 goals that, you know, one is around effective instructional practices, one is high quality job embedded professional development, and 3 is student, family, and engagement. And then for each of those, there are initiatives, 3 initiatives for each one, and they are identify effective instructional strategies, etc. That first page is kind of a summary page. But But there's really no actionable pieces to this plan. So what we did, if you look at sort of the rest of that packet that I gave you, was we broke down each goal and initiative, called it strategies. And so if you look at strategy 1, to develop standards-based curriculum units for each subject, we actually outlined specific action steps, the evidence of it being done, who was responsible, what the resources were, and the timeline, and where it was in the project. So if you walk through that, develop standards-based units, action step 1 was plan and hold curriculum summits for all subject and grade level teams across all curriculum units. What's the evidence? That we'd have sign-in meetings with agendas and minutes as a result. And Jean and the principals would be responsible, and essentially we need time and substitute teachers, so we can pull teachers to do that. Jean began that work last year, and it will continue through the end of this year. That's working with all the different departments and grade levels, and really working to build action plans that will outline, and discuss what works best for that specific grade level and subject that whatever they're talking about, math in 5th grade or science across the high school, et cetera. And if you go to the next action step below, it's actually to create action plans. So really to itemize the steps so that we're actually accomplishing what the goal, the larger idea was. Because to just say we're gonna create PK to 12 curricula in all subject areas doesn't tell you how you're going to get there, doesn't tell you what you need to get there, doesn't tell you who needs to do what, and it doesn't tell you where you are in the process. So, we added sort of the completed column. And if you go through each of these pages, and I don't think I have to go through all of them with you, but you get the idea that we've done this for last year, so this includes last year and this year. Some things we've done, some things we haven't done. So last year, Jean and Monique worked on the mentor program. So it's being implemented this year. It's not really something that we're actively doing as much this year as we did previously. And so, it's really kind of a roadmap that outlines every turn that you take so that we can accomplish these sort of much larger, more general goals. And I think this is what in education I'm saying we don't do well. We have great ideas, but we don't actually make a lot of things very actionable.
What had been the mentor program prior to this, or had there been a mentor program?
There was a mentor program, but it was sort of, I think it was a good program. It was just something that we had always sort of carried on in a very, this is the way we did it last year. And Jean and Monique spent an awful lot of time looking at other programs, looking at a lot of the research, updating some of the things that they wanted to do with mentors and mentees.
And is there state money for that? There is some state money?
It's all tied to Title IIA now. So
Okay.
you can use mentor, you can
Okay.
use Title IIA funds to
Okay.
fund your mentor program.
Yeah.
But that's also professional development.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, there's really not a lot of money anymore. There used to be a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And the past program was kind of a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
really looked to, so many different people come
Yeah.
in with different experiences, so we kind of tailored it to meet more of the needs of those new hires.
Gotcha.
So, sorry, just
Yeah.
2 quick questions. What is walkthrough data and what is an authentic learning?
So walkthroughs are the practice of moving through classrooms, looking for very specific things. So a group of administrators or teachers would say, we want to go through a series of classrooms and look for certain instructional strategies. And all of us individually mark down what we're seeing and then you debrief afterwards. What did we see? What were these types of instructional strategies, or what were these student engagement strategies, or what were these various approaches that, or curriculum or whatever the teachers and students might be doing in the classroom. And where didn't we see it? Not so that we could individually address the teacher and say, you're not doing a good job, but to get a more general sense of things that our staff is using or not using, so that we can provide professional development, so that we can look for resources that we might need, or additional training, or successes, because teachers also need to hear you're doing a great job with this as much as they need to hear things where we want to, areas we want to improve in. So the idea is really to gather data through more observational data.
Okay.
And then the authentic learning opportunities. So authentic learning opportunities are more like real life activities. So instead of a writing lesson on, where there's some writing prompt out of a book, you might say, let's all write, say you're doing a letter writing unit in writing class. Instead of pulling a prompt out of a book saying, pretend you're writing a letter to whatever, you actually say, what's important to you? Oh, the environment is important to you. So write a letter to your state representatives about some topic. Use a real life learning thing where you're writing a letter to a state rep about environmental issues, where you teach them how to letter write rather than
Okay.
sort of, more authentic, real life activities.
Sure. Okay.
So that's really the update. I mean, I can go through each one, but that's an awful lot.
No, that's fine.
We are making great progress, but there's a lot left to do, and there are things that I'm sure will never end.
Yes.
Improving our curriculum. Unfortunately, Jean, will never end. You will always be reviewing and revising curriculum, and that's a good thing. Any questions about that? Please review that. Let me know if you have questions. I'm glad to answer it. I have sent that out before. I can send that out again to parents and give them a sort of through the weekly update, an update on, this is the last year of the plan. And I
How
think-
about something that's slightly more concise?
Okay, I'll give it a go. I can give it a go.
And more of a, as a, more
Narrative,
narrative. Yes,
yeah.
thank you. That's the word.
Okay. Other questions? All right, so you also, the next piece is my goals. I'm putting forward 5 goals. 2 of them are required. For those of you that are teachers, we have a professional practice goal and a student achievement goal as part of the state system. The superintendents, you often have other goals, and so there's a district improvement goal. And then I also included 2 school improvement goals, one for the high school and one for the elementary school. My student achievement goal, I like twofers, I like things that connect. And so I try to do that, and I try to encourage people to do that. And sometimes that can happen and sometimes it can't. But what I would like to work on this year, first in terms of a student achievement goal, I want to increase time on learning in the area of science, technology, engineering, and math. As you know, I've talked about 2 major goals this year. One was safety and one was in the area of STEM. It's hard to, right now, I'm not a huge advocate of it, to measure achievement just using MCAS, because we take that test in May and we don't get results until October. But I thought measuring it in terms of the amount of time kids spend in science, technology, engineering, and math classes, if we measure that, I think, the more time kids spend on it, the better the outcomes at least should be, and certainly, in my view, will be. So with that, 3 objectives: implementing a dedicated STEM class at the elementary school, developing science and math curriculum guides through professional development, and purchasing dedicated science textbooks and resources. Some of that we've done, as you know, and some of it will work. Second goal is a professional practice goal, and it relates to the second big topic, which is safety, and to develop and implement a variety of safety-related practices. I talked about the security at the doors, cameras, and other safety measures that we're trying to implement. Again, some of those things are ongoing. Purchasing and implementing Enforce 911, which is we purchased, and now we're getting it up and running. That's a communication tool. Reviewing and revising our crisis plan, which is ongoing, but we're in good shape with that. I shared earlier, we finally got our little flip charts, our emergency flip charts for a variety of different issues and concerns that may come up that would help any staff member. Look. Again, these are, plans and things for our staff to use in the event of an emergency, not that we want to ever use them. I will, yeah. So that's ongoing. Implement Alice. Again, we've started Alice, which is a safety protocol plan to deal with emergency situations that may arise. And finally, to purchase and get Go Buckets out to every classroom for the use of in the event of an emergency. And as you can see, we have Go Buckets now, and they actually say Go Buckets on them, so.
In purple.
In purple, yes, I made sure Mr. Shaw bought purple. So, and again, these are buckets that contain a variety of items that might support a classroom. There'll be one in every classroom environment, first aid kit, flashlight,
Duct tape.
notebooks, door stops, a variety of different supplies. The emergency plan will be available with that. The teachers will be putting their class lists in those. So these are pretty common now, unfortunately, in some cases, and and maybe very beneficial in other cases when when and if we ever have an emergency situation. So that's ongoing. My district improvement goal is around renewing our district improvement plan. As I said in the last segment, our district improvement plan runs out at the end of this year. So the process of looking at where we want to go and how we want to get there needs to happen this year. And so my goal is really about collecting data, engaging stakeholders, and creating a plan to guide us over the next 3 to 5 years. And then my 2 school improvement goals. Not a huge MCAS fan in terms of as a judge and a jury for a school, but the new accountability system does have some things that are not test related. They are things that are that I think support education and supporting kids, advancing their education. And one of those things at the high school level is participation in advanced coursework. I'd like to see more of our students have opportunities for advanced coursework, whether it's AP classes, whether it's dual enrollment programs. And so there are some objectives for us to try to improve that. And for the elementary school, one of the measures that they use in accountability is attendance. And one of the measures that I think I'd like to see us sort of grow in is reading, and I think reading goes across subject areas. They do measure English language arts, but I think reading, the MCAS math test is a reading test. The science test is a reading test. But anything kids do in life is a reading test, really. So if we can really push and work hard for kids to improve their reading skills, I think we'll see a lot of growth. We've done a ton of work with that, but I would like to address that this year and math next year. But we'll give our math another year to sort of catch hold. But to improve student reading and continue to work on that. I think the biggest thing that led me to this was we really switched models this year to a coaching model, where Robin Pratt is working with teachers more directly as a coach than as supporting kids. She still supports students, there's no question that she does that. But part of her job is coaching them, so that's pretty good. And we're pretty excited about that. So those are my 5 goals. The school committee will need to vote on them eventually, but I was going to put those on the next agenda so you could review them and think about them. And if you have any feedback, send them to me so I can make any adjustments, but we can go from there. Any questions now, though?
Just going back to the first student achievement goal, so is Eureka Math being used across the grade levels?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So K to
K to 6.
six.
K
K to 6, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay.
But part of sort of the summits was now we're getting people together, like grade 6 and grade 7 math teachers
Yeah, yeah.
are meeting to talk
Yeah.
because, Julie Petty at the high school, she doesn't use that, so she doesn't
Right,
necessarily
so see how it
know.
aligns, yeah.
So now
What,
she's
yeah.
starting to understand what Eureka Math and its
Okay.
focus
And how
is.
new is that?
So the Eureka Math, they started 4 years
2014.
ago.
2014.
Yeah.
But not in the lower grades, or?
No,
Well,
they
it started
did.
as Engage New
started-
York, which is very
Engage
similar.
New York,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying, 'cause
Yeah,
that's what
but
I
now
They're both the
remember.
same thing.
Fully moved
Oh, it's
to-
the same thing.
Yep.
But it
Essentially
wasn't
the
really, I'd say that the PD wasn't there to back up kind of the
Okay.
instruction. So what we're
Okay.
doing is we're now backfilling
Okay.
some of that PD and strategies for our teachers so that they can truly implement the
Okay.
curriculum with fidelity. So
Okay,
yes, it's been a little bit of a process, but
okay,
yeah, things are going really well.
okay.
Yeah, because it was originally, I want to say it was like 6th grade, or 5th and 6th grade were the ones that were first, like, kind of piloting it. And then it was kind of slowly rolled out, like, throughout the year to the other grade levels and stuff. But yeah, we really didn't, because I was here at that time.
Right.
We really didn't get much besides, like, here's
Okay.
the, like, 5,000 pages of, you know.
So Engage
Yeah.
New York was basically New York State's version of Eureka?
Yes.
Because I know
Yeah.
that was also
Yes.
available
Yeah.
free online, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Good.
I'll actually talk more about Eureka in my
Okay, good,
report.
Any other questions about my goals? Please review them, send me any feedback individually or save it for the meeting, but I'll bring these back to the November meeting for final approval. And then at the end of the year, when you guys do my evaluation, you have to assess my progress on each of these goals.
All right.
Okay. Elementary roof project update. In my most recent weekly update, you saw that we have some back-ordered materials. Sunshades aren't coming in till, looks like the 1st or 2nd week of December, which means we're probably about mid-December where the project would be finished. That's not good, but there's a couple of things that go with that. One is our project manager, that's Skanska, and our architects, Dietz. They are contracted for a certain amount of time, with some overages built in. We're gonna go past the overages, which means now they're going to bill us for the time they need to be here and on the job, because they don't work for free. And we hire them. So in my last building meeting, I let the contractor know, MDM, that they are responsible for those charges. They were not all for that idea. And so I told them, well, as of November 1st, then I would have no choice than to charge them liquidated damages of $1,000 a day, which we would then use to be able to pay Skanska and Dietz to stay on the job, which we have to. They're part of that MSBA, the School Building Authority program. So it's not like we can say, go ahead and we'll just take care of it, nor would I want to, but,
Right.
you know. So I
Well-
told them, unless they have another, suggestion on how to make right, I don't think, what they said is, Skanska needs to do what they need to do for Skanska, Dietz needs to do what they're all in business, and MDM needs to defend their, what they need to do for their company. My job is to watch out for the town's interests. And the town should not be on the hook because the contractor went beyond the dates.
Well, I would think just, I mean, $1,000 a day, wouldn't that add up to more than whatever? I mean, I would.
Right now, it looks about even.
Oh, okay.
$1,000 a day based on work days from November 1st to mid-December is about a little less than 30 days. So call it 30 days just to be round. I think Dietz's number was about $14,000.
Okay.
So I'm guessing Skanska will be something similar. I'm not looking to make money, I just don't want the
Right.
town to be on the
Yes,
hook for
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
overages
Yep.
for our project manager.
Right.
Again, the MDM contractors were not happy with that. But I said, I'm not sure what else to do. I said, it just doesn't seem right that the town should be on the hook for that, nor will, I'm not signing off on the town being on that.
Right.
Because it's my job to watch out for the interest of the town, just like it's his job to watch out for the interest of his company. So I said, if you have another suggestion to him, please feel free to come see me. He has not yet, so in my building meeting on Thursday, I'll ask again and let him know that unless he is willing to pay those additional costs, then I would have no choice.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, look forward to hearing the answer.
All right, me too.
And so then the last one is you have any update on the negotiations?
No, just we have the October 24th meeting with Maria and Elizabeth. You guys will join us. That's the ground rules meeting, and we'll meet with our attorney and the representatives from the Teachers Association to begin the process of negotiations. So
Great.
that's it.
All right. So moving on to the administrator's reports. Mr. Evans?
Thank you. Just a few items. I want to take an opportunity to thank the NBPTO for their amazing pancake breakfast. On September 26th, they fed every student in our school in under an hour.
Wow.
That's
a lot of
of
pancakes.
flipping. Pancakes.
They're looking forward to doing it again.
We're doing it again?
I said they're looking forward to doing it again.
Oh, I thought you gave me a date.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
no, I don't know.
Yeah,
Did
well,
it
it was
right
a wonderful
before
event.
vacation.
Just another opportunity
I can't do that
for
this year.
kids to feel welcome in the school and to feel like there are adults in the community that care about them, which there's never anything bad with that. So thank you to the members for organizing and putting that together. They were amazingly efficient. We had professional development on October 4th and 5th. I'm sure that Jean will want to cover that event, so I'll spare you the details and let her go through that. We also had parent-teacher conferences last Thursday on October 11th. We had very large turnout. There were lots of parents in the building. It's a little bit difficult because there's 5-minute meetings. They're there for 2 hours, which means each teacher gets about 24 slots, not about, exactly 24 slots to be able to meet with parents. So, and of course, teachers have more than 24 students. So a lot of parents can't get in to see the teachers that they want to. So we do offer them the opportunity to email. If you didn't get in to see a teacher that you wanted to, you can call or email me and or Allison at the front desk, and we can get you teacher emails, and you can try to set up individual meetings or just correspond that way. I would also say that in the spring we will do our student-led conferences again as we did last year. And everybody gets a student-led conference, so nobody can get shut out from a student-led conference. It's a good experience. Christina mentioned homecoming. I do want to thank all of the student council members and the coaches and Mr. K for it really was a terrific homecoming weekend. Between the pep rally, the 4 games, and the dance. It was very positive, very upbeat, and extremely well attended on all fronts, parents and students. It was fun to be around. And lastly, we started our fall session of studios on last Friday. We'll be running 9 studios this fall. Nice mix of offerings this go around. Meditation is back. Yearbook publishing is new. Coding is new. There's a creative writing. There's robotics. There's a studio on manhood. And
What is that?
You're gonna have to explain that one really.
Sure, get away with it that easy.
so that's run by myself.
Huh.
And it's an opportunity for students to explore what it is to be a man in today's society. I have 4 young men and 2 women, 2 young girls. They're not women, they're girls.
Interesting.
So we had a great session on Friday and talked about the qualities that we think are important, and there's a lot of ground to cover, so we're
There's a lot
excited.
of relevance there in that
There
topic.
is. Yeah.
What's adventure education? Do they get to take a field trip
Yeah.
somewhere?
Yeah, so they
know.
were on the indoor climbing wall last Friday, and there was two teachers, Mr. McNeil, certified instructor for the district, as well as Miss Malone, who does that work over the summer in Springfield. They have a bunch of kids. They'll get them up there swinging and climbing and belaying and falling and not getting hurt. And all that stuff. So yeah, it's a fun time. Learning can be fun. Is sort of the theme behind studios, and yeah, we have 20 studios running, which I think is the highest amount we've had since we started this.
So have you invited the
Awesome.
newspapers to come and cover that for you?
Of course we have.
Good.
Yeah, but of course we will soon.
Great.
Yes, of course.
And because I'm new, so these are all taught by
So teachers volunteer.
Teachers volunteer?
Yep, some paraprofessionals get in on it as
Okay.
well. We have had students co-facilitate
Yeah.
studios. I'm trying to think if we have anybody, not this go-around that is formally co-facilitating, but I think that probably will in certain spots. So the idea is to remind all of us that when you sort of strip away a lot of the stuff we structure around schools, that learning can be really fun. And so there's no grading, there's no homework, there's no stuff that we typically tack on. And it's teacher-driven, they pick something that they really would enjoy teaching kids.
Yeah.
So some of it's sort of arts and craftsy, and some of it is a little more different than that.
And it fits into the slot of a regularly scheduled class, or is there a?
So we have our flex block,
Okay.
40-minute period, and on Fridays during the studio season, the flex block is usually the second period of the day. We flip-flop the last period and flex block, so it ends. So the week ends with studios, which is kids really like that, the staff really like that. It's sort of a nice way to end the week. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Glazer?
Thank you. In addition to my report, I just had a few things I wanted to note that I didn't put in there. We are going to hold our annual Veterans Day breakfast again this year. I've been in contact with Heather Lucier, the PTO president, to schedule that. We're looking at November 8th, 9 a.m. We have invited, or they have invited, high school students with parents or family members who are veterans to join us this year. So we're excited to have them join us. We're going to look at doing probably some type of RSVP or invitation, so we can get a sense of how many parents and grandparents we might have. But it's a nice opportunity. The kids can come and join their family members for the breakfast. So it's a nice recognition for our veterans.
Can I make one suggestion?
Please.
Because I know sometimes some veterans are unable to attend because they have jobs they can't get out of, unfortunately. Is it possible to do maybe an honor roll for the people who can't attend? Just get the names
Yeah.
of people who can't attend and
Yeah.
put it on a poster
Absolutely.
board?
And I know last year it was pretty well received. The art classes made Veterans Day cards. They took them to the VFW to pass out. There's some infirmed folks who couldn't leave their homes, like you said, for health reasons. We brought them cards, and try to do that as well. But yes, I will try to connect with families who can't make it and see if we can get them some recognition. It's a great idea. We are in the process of scheduling our parent-teacher conferences. We're looking to start those in a week or so and going through probably the first week of November. Ours are done a little bit differently. Each grade level has a day filled with conferences. I'll bring in substitute teachers for the day. They'll get, we did 15 to 20 minute time slots all through the day and running into the evening, so it's a long day for the teachers, but It's the way we've done it, and the teachers do like it. So we're going to continue with that model. The report cards are going to be going home on November 28th. So the conferences will come in about a month, or three or so weeks later, the report cards will come out. Those will be going home on the 28th of November. And I did want to just report, I'm pretty excited about this. I kind of made it my goal to try and attend more professional development myself. I haven't done a lot in the last couple of years. And so I've signed up for the MIA, the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, has a wellness summit coming up. And my adjustment counselor and I have enrolled for that. And there's some really great topics. I'm excited. So, I work at the elementary school, but I think this is sort of applicable to upper elementary, middle school age kids. It's becoming a concern. So the keynote speaker is going to talk about vaping and nicotine addiction in teens. And so I'm going to go to that. There's additional workshops happening that day on substance abuse, social and emotional learning and mindfulness, student engagement, and team building and leadership. So I'm going to try to sign myself up for a few of those workshops. I'm really excited to go to that, and I'll bring back some information to share with you at the November meeting. And I think that covers all the additional things I wanted to share.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Blanchard? Okay,
Thank you.
give this to
Thank
you.
you. All right.
So October started off fun with a lot of trainings and professional development. So I spent 3 days in North Attleboro becoming a specialist in the safety care and also a trainer. So when I came back on October 4th and 5th, I was able to then train 8 of our staff members in the safety care crisis prevention, which a lot of times people quickly kind of call it restraint training. You do learn restraints, but it's more of a de-escalation process and the things to prevent having to restrain children. So it was really insightful, and the staff left that training feeling really comfortable and excited to kind of start using these protocols with the kids and kind of using that positive language with them, which ties into our PBIS. And so there was just an overall really good feeling after that professional development. And then our BCBA also attended the school Safe Summit on October 3rd. So she brought back a ton of resources that we're going to start to kind of pick through and kind of find creative ways to implement that as part of the PBIS and kind of embed it into our curriculum here to help support the social emotional learning that's happening. And then I also attended the SPED Summit, which was kind of an overview of legal trainings and situations that came up and cases, so it just kind of is a nice guidance into the year. Our high school cafe, student-run cafe, is working really hard on their website. It's created, it's beautiful. They're working as part of ELA to create biographies to put on the website, so they're making that pretty. They're putting their pictures on, and it's going to be a really great way to showcase the work that they're doing. So they're really getting ready to roll that out soon. So that will be up. The Run, Walk, and Roll Against Bullying event is happening next Friday. So that's quickly approaching. We've been reaching out to local sponsors, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. We've raised quite a bit of money with that so far. So we're looking forward to that. And then as well as Unity Day on the Wednesday prior to the event is the Orange Day. So we're going to be kind of promoting it and talking about it a lot, so that's going to be very exciting. One thing that's not in the report, because I've been compiling data up till actually tonight, is just an update with the preschool. I know we had talked about it the beginning of the year. I know Greg was talking about it kind of over the summer with the anticipation and the influx of special ed students coming in. Of course, we didn't have that paperwork because they weren't officially enrolled. So now that we're actually getting enrollment papers and we're able to kind of look at the documentation that comes along with that, we can give you a figure that we have 8 students being referred currently. So they will start the process of evaluations and determinations. So just a little back step, our preschool right now is full. So if these students qualify, that kind of leaves us to a decision to make as far as either expanding our program in-house or looking, for areas in the community that we would have to provide that support for them. So I think as an admin team, I've talked to everyone, and we're kind of in the planning stage of looking at other models and kind of what that looks like, to kind of move forward in an effective way.
So these would be students who would be incoming.
Correct.
So for next school year or for like January?
This
like
year.
they're currently
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Oh, all right.
so as an effect of the preschool screenings that
Right.
happen, and then the referrals that we get from Carrie Donovan Center, so there are some kids who are already in RTI and have already been found eligible. Now they're starting their enrollment process here. So these evaluations for these 8 students will be happening now, and then the meetings are gonna start happening December, January. So it's a fairly quick process.
So this all happens when they turn 3.
Correct.
We, as a district, become responsible if they require services and are found eligible. So what that means is, if you remember, late last year and into the summer, we talked about the potential for another section.
Yep.
That was one option. We are looking at some different models. Good news, bad news, right? I mean, good news is students do equate to eventually coming into our program and being members of our school community, and that's a good thing. Bad news is when they show up like this, and, you know, at the time, we were back and forth, and the numbers we weren't sure of. Now we're potentially have to look at another model, which is additional funding. We'll have to redirect, well, you know, when we had to, Bill doesn't have a studio for printing money this time around, so
We can work on
we can have that next time. So we do have to look for other alternatives, and we have the budget that we have, so we'll come up with a model that makes sense and provides kids what they need.
Great. I'm going to ask Ms. Dubuque the same question about the Rise Cafe. I know Mr. Rosenthal had invited a reporter last year, and no article was ever written. Yeah.
Oh.
Ever
okay.
wanted to?
Yeah, I know, like, their shirts are coming in, they're getting labels for their cups, like, they're making it look really
Yeah.
official.
Yeah.
So I want to wait till it has
Sure.
that face to it, and then absolutely, yeah, I'll be promoting it to the community as well. Because I'd
Great.
like to eventually have them expand that, you know, maybe deliver to the senior center, or, you know,
I think
some
they
sort
should
of-
come deliver to
Yeah.
us to the school at a committee meeting. I would love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So-
we would love sample some of these.
Yeah.
They sound delicious.
Thanks,
Yep, thank you.
Mrs. Powers.
All right, so that professional development, I'm going to tell you a little bit about. So 2 weeks ago was a day and a half. We ended up with the calendars, you know, from last year, having that full day PD, and then instead of having the half day in September, we put it back to back with this full day, and I thought that was an amazing opportunity for teachers and staff to really dig in and kind of be in that mode for a day and a half. So you can see from the long report how many different things we did in that day and a half, which I'm really excited to share, because the idea of personalized learning for our students, you know, Mr. Dubuque and I last year, personalized learning for our mentors. This is a model of personalized learning for our faculty and staff. And we definitely have places where we want to grow in that idea of personalization, but we're moving in the right direction. So a couple highlights. So last year, the Eureka Math, we had a Eureka Math trainer come in and do a one-day, full-day training in October. And it was actually we had some funds through Iowa testing, I believe, that we were able to use, but it's an expensive PD. And so what we did last spring is we sent Ms. Dubuque, Mr. O'Neill, and myself to the Train the Trainer model for Eureka Math. So on Friday of last week, Mr. O'Neill and myself, really it was Mr. O'Neill took the lead, he led a whole day PD to our staff on Eureka Math. So that kind of backfill and piece that we're doing is able to kind of now that we have more in-house expertise and capacity to kind of lead it ourselves to help our teachers. On Thursday on the half day, the Teachers for Teachers, Tammy and Claire were here working with our ELA teachers. And in the afternoon, again, to kind of support the Eureka Math, we had a live webinar for our 4, 5, and 6 math science teachers. So they were able to get, again, more specialized to what they've been working on. At the high school, our paraprofessionals took part in an online paraeducator program where they got there was a couple required courses and then some things that they were able to choose and work together and talk about how things apply to their work. So there's some that's specific on like reading and writing and students with disabilities, and some other content areas. So they're able to really kind of focus in on the content, but relate it back to their work with students. The other couple pieces at the high school, we had our PD pods, which we talked about last spring, which were areas where teachers could choose what they wanted to focus on. We had peer observation and feedback, and we had a presenter from the University of New England came. She specializes in project-based learning. So she came, and the peer observation and feedback teachers, we had 2 teachers in that who we sent to other schools. They observed teachers of their discipline in other schools. It was a foreign language teacher and our new music band teacher at the high school. Kind of those singletons, people who might, not as many of those teachers around in the district to observe. And then the last piece for one of the PD pods was technology integration. So we've contracted with an online program that provides basically tutorials in using Google in the classroom and Chromebooks and all different types of programs. So that was a way for teachers to decide kind of what they wanted to work on as far as integrating technology. And then kind of the last big piece was, besides the safety care training, was a social emotional learning pod. So our counselors, our school psychologists, and our nurses are all working together on, not only programming, but troubleshooting and finding ways to support the social emotional learning components that students face every day in and out of school. So there's definitely a few more things on here, but like I said, it was a lot in a day and a half, and it was a lot of fun to put it all together, and we're going to continue these type of things as we move through the year. So Mr. Lynn had talked about the coaching model at the elementary school, so I just wanted to note that Mrs. Pratt is in her coaching cycle, so she's doing 6-week cycles with teachers, which they're doing pre-planning, co-teaching, and then reflection. And they're starting their 6-week cycle with looking at a data point. They create a student learning goal, and then they measure that after the 6 weeks. So she started the first couple weeks of school just kind of helping teachers land in the reading and writers workshop, and she's now working with 3 teachers in a 6-week cycle, and I believe she's about halfway done. And so after that, she'll pick up 3 more teachers and continue, and it's just been a really positive experience. I've been able to get into a classroom when she's co-teaching, and just the effect it has on the students and the learning has been really powerful so far. And then the last thing I wanted to just note on the very end of my report is that through our Title IV grant, which is a grant that's really about safe and supportive schools and academic achievement and kind of pushing students, is we provided the PSATs for every sophomore. So through the grant, we were able to request funding so that every sophomore took the PSAT, and we really wanted to allow them to start thinking whether or not they wanted to go to college or not, get that practice in this area, and kind of get folks set up for looking to take the SATs in the future. So some juniors took it, but this is something hopefully if we have funding in that grant that I want to do every year, is that sophomores take the PSATs.
Great, and I see also that there's a team of PBIS coordinators, is that correct?
Yes, so we, so through actually the same grant, we had originally looked to create a PBIS coordinator, so one person for the district, and then some smaller team members of teachers, and kind of through people who've applied and just looking at the amount of work and time, we've decided that the 4 people who applied for any of those positions, we've created them as an equal team where there's no like full coordinator, but it's 4 teachers, 2 that work in this building and 2 next door. And we met today for the first time with the administrative team, and really the focus was what as an administrative team have we been talking about as far as how do we encourage positive behaviors and culture and climate within the schools and the district as a whole, and kind of gave them our ideas and our thoughts. And then Monique and I are going to be kind of helping steer them until they get on their own feet as a team. And so we're meeting next week, I believe, again, to kind of dive into that. So we have, PBIS is a philosophy. A lot of people think it's a program. Like we have the Starbucks program here, which is a type of PBIS initiative. But it's really about representing and recognizing positive behavior to encourage good choices. So, yeah, that's kind of in its initial stages at this point.
Great. Excited to hear that. We have a technology update from Ms. O'Hara, and I think she says there's significant changes in the technology, that they've added 3 Chromebook carts, which carry 30 devices, which is great. 2 carts in the high school and 1 in the elementary school. And with the addition of STEM classes, they were able to build a makerspace in the elementary school, which is great. They had a new virtual server installed over the summer, and it gives more security and room to build up the infrastructure, and it has more capacity. And then also, I think this is great, that she has a student that is doing his teacher's aid class in the technology department. And his name is Corbin Stafford, and he's only been on board for a few weeks, but he's a tremendous help, which I think that's awesome, because she had a lot to do by herself.
Oh, yeah.
And then Mr. Shaw's report, basically, unfortunately, the delays on the roof project. The fields will need repair after all the rain we had. And he's looking forward, he says, to turning his attention to preparing the snow removal equipment. Being sarcastic there. And that he notes the new interior door and the security lock for the elementary school will be installed soon. And that the repairs for the high school fire doors are in the process, as well as other issues from the building fire department inspectors are being taken care of so that they are in compliance. And I'm happy to say that the school sign on the north side of Ocam Road is now working. So,
We're waiting for a park.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a clarifying technology question?
Sure.
I think it's great that these Chromebook carts were added. I was just wondering, what was in place prior to that? Like, in other words, what is the extent of access to either Chromebooks or iPads or whatever in the elementary school and in the high school?
So at the elementary
Prior
school.
to these cards.
Yeah, like, so now we have one cart. Is that one cart period, or is that one cart added to existing carts?
So it's one Chromebook cart added to another, so now we have
Uh-huh.
2 Chromebook carts at elementary school with 30 Chromebooks. And we have 2.
So 60 altogether.
Well, no, we actually have more, we have more. So we have, we just added 30. We had 24 plus 12, so,
So 24 cart and a 12 cart.
yeah, and so we're
Now
up.
the 30.
And now the 30, so that's, or, 70. We're, somewhere around that. And
is
and we
that a
have,
new
and we
map?
have the iPads. So the iPads are good to a certain extent. They're good for certain things.
Right.
I think what the direction we're really leaning toward is the Chromebooks. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of where we need to be heading. I just had a staff meeting today. We talked about, thinking about planning for next year and, what budget needs might be for next year and really coming up with a plan to increase the number of Chromebooks. I think the high school is probably feeling similarly, especially where, we really need kids typing. Gotta get kids typing
Yeah.
Yeah.
right away,
Yeah.
starting at the beginning of the school year, so that, come the spring, that they're fluent typists. So, but we have had technologies, just we're trying to build, we're just trying to build upon it. It's- And with the infrastructure, I'm sure Cindy mentioned, I don't know about the infrastructure, but the wireless hotspots and the upgraded, network, to make all this technology run successfully, the smart boards, et cetera, it's been a lot of work. So we're finally getting there. I feel, feeling good about where we are. Yeah.
Just a reminder, if we collect enough box tops, you can use that money
I
for
told someone today
Chromebooks.
how,
yeah.
what we spent our box top money on, because a first grader stopped me in the hallway. He had no idea what box tops were even about, and I had a little conversation with him about technology or however we decide to spend it. It's great, yeah.
So moving on to
Old business.
old business, sorry, I lost my
That's
agenda
all right.
here under all this stuff.
So, old business, first item is the town, the article for the warrant for the fall town meeting on November 9th. It needed to be submitted by this past Friday, and after communicating with the committee, we submitted the document that's in front of you. I would ask you to vote that you approve this. If you don't, I can ask them to remove it, but I needed to get it to them in advance.
Had you said something about not saying that it was a special ed service?
It is not. No, it's to provide required educational services.
Okay. Okay.
So I think it takes out the details.
Takes out the
Yeah,
details.
takes
Okay,
out
no,
the
I, for some
details.
reason I thought
Yeah.
that meant,
People's-
because when I see
Yeah,
tuition
like
and
identity, stuff
transportation
like
and
that,
van,
yeah.
like they'll know what that means, but you've taken it, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you still have to provide the breakdown. Okay.
Yeah.
So does,
I mean, like, and those are the questions, and I know Ms. Cloutier had the same one. That's the answer is, you know, like, what school? I really can't share that. It's
Okay.
inappropriate because it's
Yeah.
It
too
would be an
personally
identifying
identifying.
factor, yeah.
You could.
You know, it's required services, and
Mm-hmm.
we did not budget for it, and,
well, I think you did not budget for it because the plan was that it would not be needed, but.
wouldn't be needed,
But it
but-
Yeah.
it is needed.
this
It
is
is
the human
needed.
element
Right.
of life
Mhm.
for people, for a person. right?
So if we don't have any more questions on it, because I think we've all,
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So do we need to?
yep,
A
we still
motion
want
and
to
a
motion
second,
and vote
yeah.
on it.
Yep, motion to approve the article as stated for the special town meeting on November 9th.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the next couple of things are just redos, mistakes on my part, or our part. So last time through, we had two side letters that I just need you to re-vote on. The first one is around the evaluation tool for the, it's secretaries, food services, instructional assistants, and ABAs. What we didn't realize, because they're not in the contract in the recognition areas, speech and language pathology assistants are also in that contract. So we actually had to add them to the evaluation tool, which means the side letter changed. So I need a motion and a second, and then a vote to revise that. And where you will see the change is in section 3D. It says job-specific standards, speech and language pathology assistance. That's the only thing that was changed in this, is we added that section, section 3D.
Right.
So motion to approve the amended side letter of agreement between the North Brookfield School Committee and the North Brookfield Educational Support Professional Association.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the next one is just the side letter regarding the
Food services director.
food services director stipend position. This was a work in progress with the union and with Mrs. Ryan. And the number I gave you was incorrect. I think the number I gave you was 11,900 and some change, and the final number was actually 12,312. I just had like 15 different versions.
Yeah.
And I screwed it up, to be perfectly honest. So if you could re-vote on that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Motion to approve the updated side letter for the food services director and assistant food director, food services director stipends.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. And so that takes care of old business. Well, Maria's signing. Do you want me to continue on? We have policy.
Yes.
We have second readings of a number of policies. I'll just read through them. AA, school district legal status. AB, the people in their school district. AD, mission statement. AE, commitment to accomplishment. EFC, free and reduced price food services. EFD, meal charge policy. KA, school community relations goals. KBA, school parent guardian relations
Bless
goals.
you.
KCB, community involvement in decision-making. KBBA-E is a removal. KEB is a removal. DA, fiscal management goals. DB, annual budget. DB1, annual budget. DB1R, budget apportionment of expenses. DBC, budget deadlines and schedules. DBD, budget planning. DBG, budget adoption procedures. DBJ, budget transfer authority. DD, funding proposals and applications. DGA, authorized signatures. DH, bonded employees and offices, DI, physical accounting and reporting, DIE, audits, DJ, purchasing, DJA, purchasing authority, DJE, procurement requirements, DK, payment procedures, DKC, expenses reimbursements, DJC, bidding requirements is a removal, and DJG is vendor relations, that's also a removal. So those require second readings.
Okay.
Good to go?
Yep.
Yep, good to go.
Awesome. Okay.
New business.
All right, so new business. One of the requirements of being part of SWEC is to have a board member from our district. Traditionally, it's been me, and on a yearly basis, the school committee needs to appoint a member, the representative. Again, it has traditionally been the superintendent, so if you want to appoint someone needs to nominate that person, and then a second, and then a vote.
Sure. I nominate Mr. Richard Lind as the board member
Darn it.
appointee for the SWCEC.
Oh, I second it.
All in favor?
Thought I was going to get away with it with Elizabeth.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out, what does SWCEC stand for?
That's a Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative.
Okay.
Yep,
Just trying to work out.
sorry.
No, you were thinking about nominating yourself.
I almost got out of it. No, Jean looked like she wanted to do it. No, I'm kidding.
She'd be up for it.
I know she would. You also have in your packet an overnight field trip request from our student council. They are leaving in November for Springfield College. There's also one for March 6th. These are overnight trips. They are not, the one in March is down in Hyannis. These are trips they've done in the past. They have, that's just a copy.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say somehow I ended up with two of the same pages.
Oh, that's weird.
Yep, so one of them might be yours. I don't know.
So
Yep.
these trips are things they've done in the past. As you know, our student council has been a very active group. Last spring, we hosted the spring conference. We had a bunch of schools here. These overnight trips allow the student e-board to just become better leaders and to network with other student councils, and it's a wonderful opportunity for them. So I seek approval for those 2 overnight trips, and I do recommend approval of those.
Yep, motion to approve the overnight field trip requests for the student council, one for the November 10th through 11th at Springfield College, and the second for March 6th through 8th in Hyannis.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. And then we have some donations to finish up. The PTO got several donations to the schools. One for $150 for Gail Miller to buy thinking carpets. The second was a $1,000 donation for Nature's Classroom. Unlisted, but as a result of the recent meeting last week, there were 3 donations. One was for $225, up to $225 for grade 3 Scholastic News. Mrs. Jagier, $259 for clay and food safe glaze. So the PTO would like to donate that. And the PTO again, $977.65 for the book club. $1,000 worth of books. It's going to be the world-class book room, because that is awesome. So there's 5 donations from the PTO. The 2 that you have in your packet, $150 for Gail Miller and Thinking Carpets, $1,000 for Nature's Classroom, and the 3 others. three others that are in front of Kristen right now that I can't
Sure.
remember.
Motion to approve the donations from the PTO for $1,000 for the Nature's Classroom, $150 to Gail Miller for thinking mats, up to $225 for Mrs. Marr's class to have the Scholastic News, $259 for Clay and Food Safe Glaze to Mrs. Jaguar, and $977.65 to Mrs. Pratt for the book room.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you once again.
And I got one more.
What's a thinking map, by the way?
So,
I know. I'm
She's
curious.
an occupational therapist, so
Okay.
I'm not sure.
so Mrs. Dubuque is working hard along with Mrs. Powers and Mrs. Spence on their run, walk, and roll event. I don't know if I can put those in the right order.
Yeah, run, walk,
and
roll against the
whatever. So they've gotten some donations from some local businesses, and I'm sure more will come in, which I'll run by you in November, but I'd ask for approval for $50 from Jim's Pizza, $50 from St. Jean's Package Store, $100 from Country Auto Body, and $100 from Lamoureux Ford.
Motion to approve the donations in the amounts of $50 from Jim's Pizza, $50 from St. Jean's Package Store, $100 from Country Auto Body, and $100 from Lamoureux Ford.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's awesome. Very exciting.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
And can I just want to, one recognition I just wanted to mention, because the Nature's Classroom donation spurred my memory, that my son went to Nature's Classroom, and he went, had a great time. As far as I understand, all the other kids that went had a great time. So 39 out of the, I think, 43 kids in the class were able to go. And Mr. O'Neill, Miss LaCoy, and Miss Cabrera were the three staff people that went, and I'm so grateful that they took time out of their personal lives and away from their own families to attend, and it was a wonderful opportunity for all those kids. So, thank you.
That is awesome.
And I think that's it.
So we need to make a motion to enter into executive session. I believe after that we're adjourning the
So not
regular
return
meeting.
to
So we will
regular
not
session.
be returning. We'll just adjourn the regular meeting at the end of the executive session. And we're doing so, was it here? Yep. To discuss the strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body and the chair so declares. So this needs to be a roll call vote. We would start.
Your name.
Second.
Yep,
Oh.
so, yep. So-
Okay, yeah,
Seconded.
Elizabeth Milano
Seconded,
seconded.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so Maria Biter Tucker, yes.
Kristen DePass, yes.
Elizabeth Maud, yes.
Those are always
All
fun.
right.
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
Yep, so-
Everybody can go.
Thank you,
except
everyone.
us.
Thanks, have a good night,
Yeah,
guys.
you too.
Thank you, too.